It's end of day on day 2 on PDAC on the floor, and we have Robin Dunbar from Grid Metals. Robin, how are you today?
I'm well. Nice to see you, Tracy.
PDAC, how is it going?
Great. I always say it's 30,000 of my closest friends all in one spot.
Well, it's probably the first time they've ever had 30,000. So
this it's big this year. Yeah, it's nice to see.
And everybody's talking about critical minerals, and of course, the critical mineral that you have is cesium.
Cesium, yes. Cesium is a metal that not a lot of common market knowledge about it, but very rare and very critical. So a good metal to be looking for.
One of the themes we've been hearing on the floor this week so far about government relations. Have you had government meetings here while you're here?
Not yet, but we have some planned. Yeah, we tend to keep in close contact with particularly the provincial government in Manitoba. So yeah, we're looking at permitting our project over the next year to 2 years. So that's really important for us.
Now, we just recently did a master class with you, which was fantastic. And you just put out final assays from your drill program.
Yeah, well, final assays from that time, but we're still drilling. So we're going to keep drilling to the end of April or somewhere along there, get all the drilling done for a resource. The really good news about our drill program is cesium is incredibly hard to find, very rare. There's only been 6 deposits ever found globally of any significance. And ours is hanging together. So, we're thrilled with that. That was not a certainty when we started. And as a result, we think we're going to have a meaningful resource later this year, something that, will be of real interest to the market, the buyers of cesium.
Well, you said you're going to keep drilling until you secure a resource, and you said later this year. We're looking at a quarter.
Yeah, I think Q3 is roughly.
Yeah.
We'll try to meet Q3. There's a bit of seasonality to the drilling where we are, so we can go till mid-April. Sometimes the end of April. But so we'll have well over 100 drill holes having been completed since we started in October. All shallow, so it's going pretty like rapid speed, which is great.
Well, you're going to be a speaker at the Critical Minerals Summit coming up in May.
Yep, looking forward
talking
to that.
about cesium.
Yep.
For those of you out there going, cesium as a critical mineral, I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Would you mind kind of giving us a quick 1, 2, 3?
Sure.
Not just about your project, but the competitive elements of your cesium.
Sure. Yeah. There's a couple of high-level points. So first of all, it's an alkali metal. It's commonly found in LCT pegmatites, so lithium, cesium, tantalum. It's the last metal to precipitate out in a pegmatite, so very, very rare, as I mentioned. Its usage, it's about a $400 million a year U.S. market. It's relatively small, but not too small. Usages in drilling fluids for high-pressure gas wells. Applications in optical, 5G networks, atomic clocks. It's got a real dense nature to it, so it's used in things, and it also has a very high PV efficiency. So it's being looked at for use in solar panels, the new generation of solar panels. So we think the market will expand as there's more cesium brought to market, but right now the market is controlled by Sinomine, and Albemarle has a piece of the market as well. And there's a real shortage of feedstock, which is where a company like ours comes in. So we want to bring a new deposit of cesium to market in the next couple of years.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that you need cesium for these missiles to be accurate.
Well, yeah, in GPS systems, cesium is the metal of choice, right? It's the most, gives you the most precision. So, if you're spending a lot on a high-tech missile system, you want to use the best materials possible. You don't want to skimp on that, right? So, there's a wide array of uses for cesium, and it's quite rare. One of the things I might, people, we're really excited about is to process cesium into a saleable form. What you do is you mine it. In our case, we're drilling a very shallow zone, like it's only 20 meters down. And then you crush the rock and you put it through an XRT ore sorter, and one of those costs about $1 million. And you sort out the material into a cesium concentrate, and that becomes your saleable product. So for a mine development, you don't need tailings, you don't need expensive infrastructure, you don't need 7 years for permitting. It's much more akin to a quarry, and yet the product that you produce is very high grade. So cesium is a very valuable product. We think the value of the rock that we're going to be looking at taking out in this shallow open pit is going to be well over $1,000 US per ton. So it's really valuable material.
I often recommend that people check out the background, the professional experience of the CEOs, and Robin Dunbar's you definitely have to take a look at on LinkedIn. What convinced you, what was the catalyst for getting you to become the CEO for Grid Metals?
I've been fascinated by the business. It's a very exciting business. Before I got into the resource business just over 20 years ago, I was in finance. So I worked in corporate banking and commercial banking. You do a lot of risk, mitigation, analysis of risk, and this business there's a lot of risks. So you're always looking at, how do we get to our end goal and navigate along the way. And that's the skill that I brought. And now that I'm much more experienced in the business, I see putting my experience to use in finding good opportunities. And this current opportunity is very unique in my experience. Our company has other assets. We have a lithium resource defined. We have the opportunity for toll milling of that in southeast Manitoba. We have a joint venture with Teck and base metals. We have some other things we're doing, but we've been focused geographically. The Cesium project came up while we're still kind of nurturing our other projects. This is the one because we think generating cash flow for the company in the near term will set us apart from many other junior companies and catapult us towards greater success. And also in the Cesium business, we want to make this a multi-year project and find more and more resource of Cesium that we can sell to the market.
So in addition, of course, to building your resource, what else should shareholders be looking forward to in the next quarter or two?
Yeah, I'd say we've got lots more exploration results coming. So we're starting to look at expanding the zone because we're drilling in a relatively small area, and then we'll be looking at permitting, metallurgy, all the milestones for a project like this. And also, progress on our engagement with the First Nations to get the project off the ground. That's super critical. We've got some great First Nation partners, and we're already talking to them about our plans for the project and what we want to do.
With your experience and network, I bet you brought some people into this company.
Absolutely. We have some great people in the company. First-class exploration team. Dave Peck's our VP exploration. Very experienced guy. We have a good group of professionals. We've got a geological team on the ground, so we're able to operate very, very efficiently. So yeah, we've got a great team.
So for those of you interested in finding out more about Grid Metals, please go to the following website. Robin Dunbar, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Tracy.